Good morning, everybody. This is Leigh with Homestead Farms. And as you guys, if you've been a part of this podcast for very long, knows, the majority of my podcasts are on my way to work because it's the easiest time for me to actually get through a podcast without anybody interrupting me, or the dogs barking, or the kids going, mom, 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 which is, I'm sure, for a lot of you, when you listen to podcasts, right? Or when you listen to your audiobooks or whatever, this is the season, right? This is when you sit there and you're like, all right, I'm gonna listen to this podcast on my way to work, so I can actually absorb the information, right? And so I run a blog called Homestead Farms, and one of the things that I have talked to a lot of homesteaders and just really busy people, right? Those that, they're shuttling their kids to and from practice, they work or really whatever. And almost, or even if they just play in the garden all day, every day, they don't have a lot of time to read, right? And that's great. It sucks. Don't get it twisted. It sucks. Like, I wish you had all the time in the world to read. But for some people, that's just not the case. Now, I work, I'm a paramedic. I work 24/48, which basically means that I work 24 hours on duty, and then I have 48 hours off duty. And I do that every third day, right? And a lot of people are like, well, how do you homestead when you're gone for 24 hours at a time? And I'm like, well, actually, I'm gone for like 26, 27, 28 hours at a time. And people are usually flabbergasted because they don't, they didn't grow up with somebody who worked that schedule, or the person that, their mom, dad, aunts, uncles, grandfather, grandmother, whatever the case, worked a 9 to 5, or they work 12-hour shifts, or they work 10-hour shifts or whatever. So it is a very bizarre concept for people to be like, you work 24 hours at a time? And I'm like, yeah, sometimes I work 48 at a time. I work 2 days straight. And it's usually met with this just like, I cannot believe that that's what you work. And I've gotten very used to that over the years. It no longer frustrates me. At first it was like, hello. And then, in my career, so I've been a paramedic for 8 years, been in EMS just about 10. Like, I don't remember the exact dates and years, and that's just been a long time. And anyways, I noticed, and I was actually talking to a friend of mine at work, and she's like, I listen to a lot of audiobooks, I listen to a lot of podcasts on my way to work because, and she said, that time is, quote, free, and I'm able to get other things that I need or want done. And I'm like, well, that's actually genius, because when we first moved onto the property, I recorded a ton of videos on YouTube. And that's what I did. I would drive to work and record the videos. And that worked pretty well, except editing became a bit of a challenge because I didn't have that much time to edit those videos. And, considering I have a weird time constraint, right? Where, most people who work, they work a 9 to 5, or they work, 12-hour shifts, and they come home every night. Well, I don't come home every night. And so you would think that I would have time at work to, because we're not running calls the whole 24 hours, right? There are times where we don't run a single call. And then there's other times where we run, at my job, the average for my station, my county, my crew, whatever, is about 3 to 5 calls a shift. And so there's usually, not always, but usually there's quite a bit of downtime. And so what I try to do is use that downtime wisely, right? Because I don't have kids around me and I don't have dogs barking and I don't have all this stuff. So in theory, yes, it should be quite a bit easier to, record videos or, edit videos. And sometimes it is, and sometimes it's not. And then other times, the very last thing that I want to do is work while working. I don't want to, obviously, clearly, I'm totally fine with working at work, but I don't want to do extra work. I want to relax. Sorry, the coffee was hot, which is great, except coffee's hot and burn your mouth. So I decided to start the podcast for those really busy people where all they want to do is they want to throw in their earbuds and go to work. Right? They want to play in the garden. They want to listen to a podcast on the way to work. Whatever the case may be, that consuming audio is better for you. And so that's what we did, or that's what I'm doing. And I have found so far that, the podcast has been live for 3 or 4 days. And so far, it looks to be like my thoughts were correct, that people want to consume content about homesteading, but maybe they can't listen to a podcast on the way to work. Or excuse me, sorry, let me back that up. Maybe they can't watch a video on the way to work, and they clearly can't read on the way to work, or they don't have the time in their house to read. And so this is a brainchild that I've been kind of sitting on for about a year. And, I talked to Jared in depth about it because I don't listen to a lot of podcasts. For me, if one more person talks to me, it's game over. I deal with people talking to me a lot, and part of my ADD, ADHD, going down that rabbit hole, part of that is audio overstimulation or auditory overstimulation. It does not take, we have an air purifier in the house that is old and it makes a ringing sound. And so it sounds like all I hear is tinnitus, and I don't actually have tinnitus. Like occasionally my ears will ring and stuff like that, but I don't have that issue. And so for hours and hours and hours while I'm trying to record, trying to work or trying to do whatever, all I hear is the ringing of that. And it will drive me insane. And I don't need any help with that. I do that very well on my own. Thank you very much. So having additional auditory stimuli in the form of people talking to me, it sounds terrible, but I said, okay, well, if I'm going to start a podcast, I cannot just start a podcast and expect everybody to listen to the podcast without knowing how it works. Right. And so I went ahead and I started reading and listening and doing the things, trying to get more information on how to actually start the podcast, how to monetize a podcast, how to, what speakers to use, what, mics and headphones and whatever's to use. And I started really going down the rabbit hole, trying to make sure that this is the best decision, both financially and the amount of hours that go into it, right? And so I really wanted to make sure that whatever it was that I chose, it was chosen for the right reasons. And I bit the bullet and I said, okay, I'm gonna do it. But before I go out and spend hundreds and hundreds and possibly thousands of dollars on setups, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna find my best earbuds and I'm gonna record some audio. And I'm gonna load that audio and I'm gonna see what that audio does before I start spending hundreds and hundreds of dollars on, headphones, mics and stands and mixers and this and, all of the things. Before I do that, let me see if it's worth it. And what I have found so far is that it's definitely there. The potential is there. And at this point, I don't mind upgrading my earbuds because that's what I'm recording you on. And I will probably continue to record on earbuds for the next little bit. Not because, the a microphone is $100, $200. The earphone, the headphones go with it, another $100, $200. Actually, it's the ease in which I can record a bunch of podcasts for you guys, right? I can throw my headphones in and drive and talk to you guys about podcasts, what we're doing on the farm and all that stuff. I can do those things. So that is why we started the podcast. We're having a fair amount of success with it. Again, this is still the early stages. I think we're in week 1. By the time this recording comes into play and you guys hear it, we'll probably be in week 3, maybe 4. And so probably not. I may go ahead and upload this so that people understand now instead of in a couple weeks why we're doing what we're doing and how we're doing what we're doing. And like I said, I'm pretty excited about it. I'm looking forward to it because I have a fair amount of people that talk to me about homesteading or farming or gardening or goats or chickens or whatever. And they legitimately want to know, how to do stuff. Do I do this first? Do I do that first? How do I do this? And so I want to make sure that I give you that information, right? I give them, because if they have these questions, somebody else has this question. Right? It's not I'm the only one that has this question. So if you have questions, if you want to know something, if you have questions about the blog that you want cleared up, whatever, all you got to do is shoot me a message. Facebook, Instagram are the 2 main ones that I'm almost always on. And then you can email me at Leigh@steelravenfarms.com. And I will put links in my show notes and all that. But contact me if you got questions. Let me know. I'm here for you.